Today, I'm going to talk about the 8 things you should stop doing if you want to find your style. A few years ago, I made this video called How to Find Your Style. Go and watch that one if you want to see what the things you should do in order to find it. But here is a video what not to do. All right, so let's jump right into it. The first one is if you just follow one teacher. So if you just take classes from the one teacher and this one teacher teaches you all the techniques, all the styles, exactly how he or she does it, you will end up painting like this teacher. It's inevitable. So this is whether you are going to an in-person class or you are taking online classes. If you just use one teacher, if you follow one teacher, you are just inevitably not going to really develop your own style. So it is so important for you to have several different teachers that you're learning from. How I did start my journey just following mainly Jenna Rainey, and I did tons and tons of her painting tutorials, and then slowly I realized that I was just painting like her. Of course, I couldn't paint exactly like her, but I was just painting her style, and I started to do other tutorials of different teachers as well. Although it was a little bit difficult to transition when you're taking classes from different teachers. I'm sure you understand this because every teacher has their own rhythm, their own method, their own language to teach. But it's so important for you to just absorb all the different techniques and styles from different teachers so that it somehow will integrate into your own body, into your own background, into your own sort of muscle memory to create your own style. So that's my first tip. Make sure you follow more than one teacher. The second thing that you need to stop doing if you really want to find your own style, and this is shooting myself in the foot because I teach here on YouTube and on Patreon, is to actually stop following tutorials. I won't say stop completely. Obviously, you still want to learn skills and get inspiration, but at some point, you got to be brave and just paint from a reference photo or a photograph you've taken, or even paint from a reference in real life for you to really kind of take everything that you've learned and integrate it into your body, into your system, into your brain, and have it come out in your own natural way. So for me, I really first started feeling that I had my own style when I started painting, not from tutorials, from actual photos. And I would take a photograph of a flower arrangement and I would paint it based on everything that I kind of know and developed over time. And what emerged is your style. So I recently taught a watercolor class, a workshop in my local town over the last few weeks, and I had different students ranging from total beginners who've never even picked up a paintbrush before in their life, to artists that have painted before in other mediums, and I noticed that every single one had their own style. They painted multiple paintings, and they all already have a distinct style. And that's so interesting because in real life classes, they're unable to follow me like you do on a video tutorial. You can't pause, you can't exactly mimic every single brushstroke that the teacher does. Instead, I'll do a demonstration for a couple of minutes, and then they will go off to do it again from sort of what they just remembered earlier. And therefore, each person's painting style is already present and developed there. So what I'm saying is that, these students that I've had in real life never really got a chance to even watch my videos, and they already had the style from day one. And the style is really a culmination of how much energy they put into the painting, and some people were more heavy-handed, some were using lots of water, some, use the whole page because for some reason they just was brave to use the whole page, and some artists just use like the tiny middle part of the page. Some artists totally did not even follow what I said to do and did something of their own, and that's just another personality trait as well. So that's the second tip for you. You got to just go easy on the tutorials and eventually start to paint on your own. Okay, so number 3 is do not lean into fear. Instead, you need to lean into curiosity. All right. So if you approach your art with a lot of fear to be whatever kind of fear, right? Fear to waste supplies, fear to be wasting your time, fear that you're not going to make a beautiful painting that is going to come out ugly. If you have that fear, it's really hard to find your style because you won't allow yourself to grow. You won't allow yourself to do things that you're curious about. So instead of approaching a painting with lots of fear, think about it as a play, as an experiment, as in going in to just ask, what if I put this color here? What if I put that color there? What if I use a different brush stroke than I did before? There's this really awesome video called Do Not Lean Into Fear But Curiosity by David Cho, and I'll link it in the description below. It's a really awesome little video about that, about how you should follow your curiosity and not fear. So that is tip number 3, follow curiosity, not fear. Number 4 things not to do is you are not letting yourself experiment and explore, which is just like a follow-on from the previous point. So what I mean is that you feel like, oh, I need to find my style, so I shouldn't be exploring another medium. I shouldn't be exploring another subject. I should just keep to my tools, and I want to go deep. I want to be an expert in what I am interested in. If I paint landscapes, I'm just going to be painting landscapes over and over and over again. And you are just not letting yourself explore and experiment, which is really, really horrible because it is almost like following the one teacher. If you don't lean into your curiosity to see, what if I painted this mountain today? You won't be able to merge your different interests. You won't even be, you would learn something from landscapes that could go into your florals, or vice versa, right? Art is never just one technique, one medium, one subject. We need to lean and allow ourselves to explore and experiment. The 5th one is you don't listen to your intuition. And instead, you are just listening to what other people are telling you to do. Of course, when we are learning a new skill and a new craft, you gotta listen and take advice. But sometimes our intuition just tells us and we know ourselves better. For example, if I have a watercolor student and then I'm seeing that this person is using not enough water, okay? So I had this student over the weekend and a lot of her paintings were just very dry, a lot of dry brush effect, very thick, quite opaque. And my urge is like, I'm going to tell her to use more water, tell her to use more water. I said that multiple times and she was doing it. But it is maybe her style to use less water. Maybe it is just her intuitive feeling that she liked that effect and she did use water and I don't like to use water. And eventually she might even realize that she want to try gouache instead or acrylics. And that is what I mean by, yes, you can take advice from teachers to tell you exactly what to do, but you shouldn't be ignoring your own intuition as to what you like more and what you want to lean towards, okay? That is very, very key. That's why when I teach my students and my Patreon, I always caveat everything with, but you do you, all right? Blah, 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 blah. This is how I will do it, but you do you. And if you're not sure what you want to do you yet, then yes, by all means, follow what I'm telling you. But eventually, you will realize what you want to do. So don't ignore that. Okay, the 6th thing that you can do to not develop your style is you don't spend any time on your practice. Okay, this is like a given, right? If you want to develop something, you need to spend time. You need to put in effort. You need to paint often. If you just leave a hobby or something that you want to master to, once a fortnight, once a month, or whatever, you are not going to develop your skill. The same thing goes if you just keep working on the one painting and you are trying to perfect it over and over again and you are not letting it go, you will also not really have a chance to develop your style. I say this a lot. Paint more, paint often, but don't paint one and paint the perfect painting. There's a story, about the pottery where, a teacher said, I want to have a competition of who makes the best pot. One group are allowed to make many, many pots. One group is allowed to only make one pot, but you can work on that pot till it's perfect. And guess which group makes the better pots? The one that made lots of pots. Okay, so make sure you spend enough time so you can feel and see your style develop. Number 7 is you are not letting yourself fail. Okay, this is so important. So be ready to fail. Be okay to make crappy paintings. Be okay to not keep to your style, be okay to make silly mistakes and do things that are outside your comfort zone, because trying to keep to one style for the sake of it is like putting yourself in jail, putting yourself in this box. And I don't want to touch the outside edges. I don't want to touch the walls of this box for the fear that I might go through and fall. You need to push the boundaries and fall and fail for you to come back and retract yourself. A practical example of this, okay? So we are painting and you go like, oh, I should stop now because it's perfect. Should you stop now because it's perfect? Yes, if you want a great painting, stop now, I'm happy, I'm done. But occasionally, you just gotta go a little bit more. Go, what if I put an extra mark here? What if I put some silly neon orange there? What if I use my fan brush and do something crazy? So you need to be willing to fail. And that's why I have a sketchbook practice, because in my sketchbooks are where I really experiment and I fail and I do silly things in. So make yourself be okay for failure, so that you can find your perfect style. The final one is, if you somehow believe that no matter what you do, you are not unique and that you are always going to be looking like something else, someone else's painting, and that belief will not help you be confident enough to create your style. Because the truth is, like I said at the beginning of this video, everyone already inherently has a style that they naturally come with, whether it's something that we learn from childhood, whether it's something that we have some programming in our hearts, in our minds to make us believe that we should be bold, or we should be cautious, or we should be experimental, or we should be careful. All of this is already programmed in us even before the first time we come to our paints and our brushes. So you are already unique. You actually already have a style. It's when we try to conform and learn all these skills that sometimes we get lost and muddled up with other artists and other styles, and we feel like, oh no, we're a bit lost there. But the truth is, I believe that even as a beginner, even as the most rudimentary primary school kid, they already have a style. You already have a style. So don't be impatient. Do not go looking for it. Just relax, follow these 8 steps, and I guarantee you, your style will emerge. So if you're interested in carrying on this conversation about your style, on my Patreon, which I call the Uncomplicated Artist Movement, we are meeting, next week. We actually meet once a week live on Zoom, where we will talk about a topic regarding art, being an artist, and this month's topic is finding your style. We'll be painting together live on Zoom, and then we will be looking at each other's paintings and seeing what is it about these paintings that make these artists have a different style. So join me on my Patreon if you're interested. We are a very tight little group of artists that gather together to discuss art, paint together, and live the uncomplicated artist life. So check it out, and otherwise I hope to see you again next week on my YouTube channel. Take care. Have a great painting time. Bye-bye.